Hi there. StreamYard says that I am live. I always do live a couple minutes ahead of schedule so that Cheryl Parrish, the mama bear of the Crafty Bunch, will have time to share me into that group. So right now I am plainly talking just to myself, but if you catch the replay, you will be listening to this part. So thank you for being here on the replay. Cheryl will share me to the page in a minute or so, and then we can get going on what I'm not prepared for tonight. It's been a week, you guys. It has been a week. But in my mind, in the way I grew up, if you commit to doing something, you do it. Even if you're not quite got all your ducks lined up, you owe it to the people you committed to show up and do your best. So that is where I'm coming from. And that is why I am here talking to myself, waiting for Cheryl to share me in the group. This is our friendship journals on a journey. And it's going to be our last week of creating in these journals. So I'm going to miss this process. We're going to do one more live stream, I guess, showing all of us getting our journals back, which I'm very, very excited for. I've heard some of the other presenters say they were going to wait until they were live before they opened their box with their book in it. I might do that too if I can have the discipline for it. I'm still waiting on Cheryl here, you guys. I'm sorry to bore you as we just lead up to that exciting moment when the door is thrown open and I'll be in the Crafty Bunch group. I am here in my oops, we have one person watching. I wonder if it's Cheryl. Yes, it is. Hello, Cheryl. Thank you for sharing. So now we can get down to business and brass tacks. Hello, Cheryl. Hello, anyone who is watching. Hello to anyone who's on the replay. You already heard some from me if you started the replay at the beginning. I have Mama P's friendship journal on a journey here. I have looked at it. I have opened this already and taken a look at it, and I picked out a whole bunch of possible supplies that I'm going to use in Mama P's journal. So let me show you where it is right now. And I fessed up before we came live. Hey, Jeanette. Hi, Linda. I'm not very well prepared today. I apologize for that. But as I said in the intro, you show up. When you make a commitment, you show up and you do the best you can. So look at this journal. Look at it. It is amazing. If you've been following along, you have probably seen this journal before, but here's Mama P's cover, right? So she did that beautiful cover, which when this is all sewn up and returned to her, you probably get to watch her open it and see what she thinks of all this. But this is her beautiful cover with just fabulous fabrics inside. And my fellow boho team members showed Cheryl a lot of love in creating signatures for her beautiful cover. I don't know what this is called, but I know it has a name when we sew the signatures to a separate spine, and that will be attached in here. I'm going to say by Mama P, because I'm going to sew my signature into the spine, but I've never done this kind of binding, and I don't want to mess this up. So I'm going to send it back. I believe it gets glued in there, and then these flaps are glued down, and it just becomes a hidden spine. Thank you, Linda. So that, you know, this part of Cheryl's journal, this part of her cover is going to stay pristine and beautiful. So lots of love, lots of beautiful work done in here already. And I'm not complaining. I just want to share the challenge. This is where I get to put my signature. Do you see where those holes are? There's not a lot of room in here. Hi, Dee. Hey, Cheryl. Not complaining. But what that means for me is my journal or my signature is going to be a little skimpy in its width. So I want to make it extra special if I can for Mama P, because she has done so much wonderful work in pulling this all together for us. So I'm going to set her journal back in safely in the box. And today I'm going low tech because I wanted you guys to have a bigger screen. I don't have another camera. Hello, Kelly. Good to have you here. I'm going to just lower. Well, in a minute, I'll lower. This is what I've been doing since this afternoon. Is going through all of my stuff that might possibly make a good addition to Mama P's book. Here's a whole stack, and here's some more things, and they're everywhere. But I want to do her justice. So let's tip this down just a little bit. You can watch my hands working. This is part of Mama P's journal. I did not create this. I'm going to tuck it in so that she has that. I'm choosing things based on some of her color palette. So these are called acrylic skins, and it's just paint, not on anything. So it's the paint and then a clear coat that creates something that you could use like a sticker kind of or sew on. So I have that, and I thought I could possibly punch some holes or cut some flowers. We got a little flower action going over here. This could be a part of that, right? Ooh, that was not my plan, but it could become my plan now. That is the fabulous thing about being a mixed media artist is you just never know what you're going to surprise yourself with. This very well could end up being what I do with this and adding that to that. Mama P, if you're watching, you let me know what you think of that idea. Well, hello, Danny from Cascades of Color and Clifton's Crafty Casa. I have to look closely at that. My eyes are not what they once were. So we've got some fun things to play with there. This, if Mama P is not watching, I'm making this into like a little bit of a thank you card for her. So it will be part of her signature. Oh, Mama P is watching. So block your ears, Mama P. This is a special thank you card for someone special to all of us who created and put this whole project together. So much more stuff for the choosing. The gold, she had lovely gold. These are kind of in her colorway, so I don't know if that'll be anything. I spoke on an earlier video that I wanted to try to learn something new in every signature I added. This is kind of a new thing for me. This is just cellophane from some packaging, and I cut a hole and I put the cellophane, and somehow it's gonna be something. Somehow it is going to be a fun thing that's going in Mama P's signature. I don't know how yet, but isn't that kind of a fun idea? This is on a lightweight cardstock, hole punched in, and then I used double-sided tape to create this little window. So it's similar to how you use an envelope when you do a junk journal, and it has that cutout to see the address through, but this is a round cutout circle. Here's some of my papers that I dyed with turmeric. I think those will go in there because Cheryl's colors are like burgundy and gold. My butterfly, he's watercolored on a old book page, but he's got some metallic. So that's kind of a fun addition that might make the signature too. This is I'm going to put this in there, Cheryl. This one says, "You alone will have the gift of this." It's a print of a small painting I did some years back. So it's going to get into your signatures too. More papers that I painted. We got scraps that are going to get added. What the heck are we going to do today? Lots of just miscellaneous things that I thought the colors went well in Cheryl's journal. Let me see what we're saying here. Good evening, Liz and friends. Good evening, Diane. And thank you all for being here. Let's go back down, go through some more things that I think could fit in Cheryl's journal. These are a little bit brightly colored. I don't know, maybe that guy, maybe that with the stripes. This could have gone in. I watched Bev earlier working in Christie's journal. This probably should have ended up in Christie's with all that orange and yellow 70s vibe. Another one for Christie's. More for Christie's than Cheryl's. Not the right colors, not the right colors. So these are not going to make the final cut. I'm going to put those away. I got little tiny Minnesotas. We might cut something of that out. And now we're back to some colors I think are going to look pretty good in Cheryl's book. So we've got the burgundies, the golds. Trust your heart. Yep, that's a good thing to do. So we're going to play around with these papers and see what we can come up with for Cheryl's 5th signature in that big, glorious book of hers. Going back to that thank you card that we're not going to tell Cheryl about. I stamped this. I have a lot of big Iron Orchid Design stamps. I'm a retailer for them. This is an older stamp called Peony. And my peonies are blooming here in Afton, Minnesota right now. And I was going to watercolor these. But then this guy showed him or herself to be a pretty lovely way to, colorize that peony. So together, we're going to try to figure out a way to do that. Wish me luck. Okay. Peony. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Ooh, that must have hurt though, having them tattooed on your back. I love peonies as well. And now that I know ants like to live in them, I rarely bring them inside for bouquets, and I enjoy them live on the vine. So let's hope this works. This is truly a trial. Let's go for it. Back down again. My iron orchid design stamps are right here. These are the ones that I use to start Mama P's thank you card. And this one is right there. I was going to watercolor these. I got my watercolor paints out, ready to go, but us creative women, we can pivot on a dime, right? So I have some like scratch paper today. We did a portrait painting class earlier. I'm gonna use some of this, and here's how we're gonna try to do this. I'm gonna take that same stamp that I did this big flower with. I'm gonna grab my black ink, which is here. And with these big stamps like this, instead of putting the stamp on the pad, I like to bring the pad to the stamp. So we're just gonna put that on. This doesn't even have to really come out perfectly because I'm going to cut it up and just use it as a pattern. But there that is, right like that. Let's find a pair of scissors. So that's rather lovely, I think. I'm going to take my very detailed scissors here. Do you guys want to talk about something while I cut? I'm really grateful that you've tuned in here. I'm really grateful that Cheryl has invited me to be a part of the Crafty Bunch page this whole year of 2026. We started this journey in early January. And when we started, I knew only Amanda and Michelle from My Shell Bell and Simply Flaming. Oh, I can't even talk tonight. Simply Flamazing Art. So I knew those lovely women coming into this friendship group, but I didn't know Cheryl or Bev or Christy. So I got to make new friendships on this journey, which has been awesome. As you guys know, if you are followers of the Crafty Bunch on a regular basis, it's just a fabulous group of really kind and talented human beings. So I've felt really fortunate to be a part of it this year so far. I'm so excited to get my friendship journal back later this month and see all the wonderful things that people have done. I've watched as many of the live videos as I've been able to, but I have rarely seen. I watched Bev earlier. She said she purposefully did not watch her people working on her book because she wants it to be a surprise. I rarely got to see people working on my book. I did see Mama P working on the first signature at first, and it just was so gorgeous. The blues that she added, and it's just fun to work in someone else's books using their color palette and trying to work in their style. I think that's been a big part of the fun of this challenge. Don't know if I've shared this with you guys before, but I love fussy cutting. I love paper dolls. that's a lot of fun for me. So here's this guy, right? This looks like a pretty good fit here. Yes? So I'm going to just try to cut this out. I'm going to leave this part because I think that kind of starts to form the stem, and this acrylic skin is something I could paint over. So we don't have to do this exactly. We just want it to look peony-like. So I'm going to leave that chunk on there and cut around. So anybody on here familiar with the concept of an acrylic skin? It's just putting paint onto, like, you could use one of the Teflon pads, something non-stick. And it's also, when you paint and you just have a lot of paint left on say a plastic palette, I like to use plastic plates sometimes to put my paint on. And sometimes the way paint comes together on a palette in a haphazard sort of way, it just makes some of the prettiest patterns and color combinations. And I always am hesitant to want to just wipe them away. So I'm just trying to get the lay of this flower and cut. I'm going to restamp it later to put detail back in, or maybe just try to add that with an acrylic pen. I'm going to take this away. Let's see if it's coming. You see, we've got the shape here, some of the petals. It's very futzy, but I enjoy futzy. Futzy makes me slow down and focus, which is a very good thing for me to do. I'm going to see if I can make some marks in here. Yeah, I don't even need to see them. I just want to score some lines around that stamp image. And if I have to line it back up and put it back on, I could do that too. Because there, let's see if I can see those. I don't know, maybe not. Nope, we're going to put this back and do it the way I was doing it. Just put the scissors, there's that. And, we do not have to get it perfectly because we're making flower petals. They don't have to look exactly like the ones on the stamp. They just need to kind of look like that and kind of look organic and not too perfect. Because flowers, they bloom without worrying about if they're perfect. I would love to be more like that, just kind of blooming and happy for whatever. So there we go. Do we have any comments here? You can also use the skins to make jewelry. Oh, yes, parchment paper silicone mats are excellent suggestions for doing acrylic skins. And, I say just use your paint the way you want to use your paint. If acrylic craft paints, put them on a Teflon or parchment paper. There we go. Use that as your palette, and then if you end up with some marks and designs that you think are pretty, and I do think some of the nicest things come from just that random mixing of colors that we love. Get that off. And then you could capture that with a matte medium or Mod Podge kind of a... Ooh, there it is. That's pretty close, I think, to what we need to go on this thank you card. So, oops, I think maybe this way. This way. So we'll probably end up painting some of these other parts, or I could cut other pieces of this. So let me do that. I think these colors just will look really nice with Cheryl's color choices for her cover and the images that other creators have done in her book. So I think that's pretty good. Let's do a new card. We're going to do a new card, starting fresh, so that these pieces don't show. I'm just going to use this one. So I got a new piece of watercolor paper. I am going to line up the corners as best as my little eyes can line them up. There we go. Those are nice and straight. And we'll grab a little bone folder here. And crease that very nicely. This wasn't my plan when I signed on tonight. I really didn't have a plan. I had a lot of panicking going on in my mind because I wanted to be able to do something decent, better than decent, as good as I could for you guys. So there, I think that's going to be peony number 1. Looks pretty good. I'm going to trim some of that up and let that be the beginning of its stem. All right, and we glue that down. We're going to just glue that on there because that will work. There. So now I want to do the same kind of thing for this flower. And I'm going to grab another piece of my acrylic skin. Sort of like decoupaging without the paper. We just have the paint. See if that will... See what I have here that'll fit the best. This one. This one is going to work the best for that flower. Yep, right there. So I'm going to do that same thing and stamp this on a piece of paper. Where's my scrap paper again? It's right here. So we're going to stamp that. Where did I put that stamp? Is this it? No, that's the one we just did. All right, I can't expect you guys to help me with this because I didn't even use it on camera, so you're not going to know where I put it. But I know that I put it here somewhere, so let's see if we can find it. And if not, we'll adjust again and choose a different. No, I don't like that. I got a whole package of these stamps right here. Let's see if I can find, nope, that's a bumblebee. Tell you what I'm going to do, because I'm not going to use this card. We're just going to, no, we're not going to do that. I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths and look again for where I may have put that peony stamp. Not having much luck yet. I need to watch the time because I'm babbling, I know. So it's already almost 7:30. This is what I'm going to do because I can't find that. Is I'm just going to trace, I can see that. I'm going to trace the outline of that flower because that's all we want is the outline shape. So there that is. That part I think will come out. So that's the gist of the shape. When I find the stamp later, we can add the detail back in. But for now, I'm going to line this up as best I can on here, and we'll do what we did earlier and cut that out. So let me cut this guy. It's probably quite boring watching me cut, but I hope there's a little bit of interest in the whole idea of creating acrylic skins using parchment paper and the plastic plate idea I think is good because you can leave your paint to dry on it and then put Mod Podge or something like that to like trap the paint colors. And it's hard for me to cut and talk at the same time. If you yes, if you paint Mod Podge over your paint and let it dry completely, the whole thing will peel up and just give you something fun to work with for adding to your projects. There. Good? Good. We're going to make it fit as best we can and then round out places. So let's do that. I'm going to cut here and here. Cheryl, you're not going to get a lot of pages in your signature from me because I can't squeeze them in. But I hope you will be happy with the skinny little signature that I'm going to put. I'm going to put my heart in it, even if I don't put a whole lot of pages in it. Your book is already bursting from the seams, and I hope you're tickled with it. I know I would be if it were my book and returned to me with all the wonderful work that has been done in it. So I'm going to go back and look at my stamped design, which I didn't think was too bad. So we've got this flower that's going to be up there. And we've got this flower that's going to be over here. And I'm just going to put those down and attach them. And the stems and leaves will be added and painted on separately, or maybe I will decoupage some fun papers down for the leaves. So let me grab a glue stick or some glue. There, I have the art glitter glue. We're going to use that. You have never heard of acrylic skins. Yeah, it's really fun. Thank you, Linda. It might have gotten moved with the journal. The Peony stamp is an Iron Orchid Designs stamp. I am a retailer. I'm afraid that one might be a retired stamp. I don't even know. But many retailers have products still in stock that I might have it. So you could look for it online, or I don't know if you're interested. I can see if I have any still here, but if not, there's a lot of bigger stores, bigger Iron Orchid Design retailers that may have back stock of some of those older. This is a beautiful stamp. So I just put glue on the back of that acrylic skin because they're very, very compatible. It's acrylic and acrylic. The glue is a water-based. It will be just fine, but I need wet wipes. Let us, well, I don't have any wet wipes nearby, but I have paint water, so I'm going to use that and a paper towel. That works too, right? We need to sometimes adjust. I'll make my own DIY wet wipe. So that is on the card now. Does that look nice? I think it looks pretty nice. So that is, it's just like if I had just painted it on here with acrylic paints, because that is all that this is an assortment of acrylic paints. I liked this guy kind of over here, I think, because we're going to have to put the stems and the leaves in here some way. Maybe right there. Looks good. Ooh, or do I like this side better? Nope, we're going to go with that one. Again, mixed media, playing with all the things. It's just kind of it's very, very fun to create these fun, colorful skins and papers and not know what they might be when they grow up, not know that they're going to end up in a friendship journal and move all the way to Missouri to live out the rest of their days. I did not know that when I made this, but that's where they're headed. They're headed south. And Cheryl, what do you think? Are you still on here, Cheryl? It's looking good, right? So it's got to get more leafiness in there and the greens and the stems. So we're going to do that. I'm going to write a sentiment. I love these stamps. You guys, anyone on here have these kind of stamps? They, as far as stamps go, I think they're very reasonably priced. This is a Prima marketing thing. This one is. I've got some others that clip together like that. I'm pretty sure I got mine at Michael's or somewhere. So anywhere that sells Prima, probably Amazon. I do not sell these stamp sets myself, but I really like them because they're just easy to keep track of. So we're going to do a little thank you. A thank you for Mama P. So we just line them up. T. I can find the right letters. TH will take 2. So here's an A. Have you guys used these? They're so awesome just to be able to put words together. They also have numbers and symbols. Here's an ampersand. Let's see. Yep, thank. We're going to have, here's the H. Thank. We need an N and a K. Yeah. Thank you for the kind words here. I appreciate that. I know my presentation is a little bit clubby tonight, but I am grateful for your grace and kindness. We're going to have a K there. We're going to have a space, and then we're going to put you. Are we? I'm just going to do think, and then we'll decide to where to put the U. Let's find the K. And I really am very appreciative of all the work involved in coordinating. And, you know, Team Boho is just one of the teams. I think there were 4 teams altogether doing friendship journals, and everyone who's come into my space in my studio while I was doing any work on any of these were just thrilled with the idea. I'm going to try to find a way to do this locally, to create a similar experience for people if they come into the studio, creating their own covers and then making, I'm doing this on the sample just to see. Oh, look at that. I went upside down. Oh, terrible. Glad that was on the sample. But I think thank will go there and you will go there. But I'm going to make sure it's right side up on this one. Probably better. So we have a thank. Yep. Thank. And just YOU. And then maybe we'll move on to a couple of other things and techniques. Thank you, Linda. Doing just fine. Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are the best. There's a lot of angst and nastiness on the internet in a lot of corners, but we do not have that in our corner, do we? If people would experience what we do in grace and kindness to each other, that would make things a whole lot better all around. So thank you for extending grace and kindness to me and for being here to watch. There we have the you. Thank you. I'm going to make sure I have that going the right way because my acrylic skins are on here. I cannot reproduce those. I'm going to do thank you, Mama P. We could do Mama P because that only takes a couple of letters. M-A-M-A. So we'll do that the easy way and just have an M and an A. So we have Ma. Ma. P. Thank you. Is this a P? Yes, it is. I'm going to make sure. Yes, it is. Thank you, Mama P. I think, Mama P, this is going to be your signature cover for the signature I put in your beautiful cover. Let's set this aside and let it dry a little bit and move on to some other things. Hey, Amanda, I'm doing well. Thank you. Crazy busy with, we're starting to pull together our plans for our Creatively Curious Kids Club, which starts up next week. So we have Tuesday afternoons are Kids Club here. and kids 5 to 11 come, and we read, and we have music, and we do art projects. Our first one is going to be upcycled tin cans that we're going to turn into planters and have hangy downy. It's just going to be fun. We're just going to have fun, and they're going to be pretty, and there's nothing like working with a bunch of little kids to challenge you and keep you on your toes. I love how kids create without worry about getting everything perfect. They're just having fun, and I learn much from being in that kind of energy. Got some, these are, packaging materials, right? This looks like, well, I bought something that had this great card on it. The white side is very decoupageable. So let me grab some decoupage papers that I think go nicely with, yeah, this is pretty. The gold that's here could go on this tag. So we're going to put some golden tags in Cheryl's. What do I want to use for that? Hold tight. Coming back around, I'm using some liquid patina. It's basically a matte medium Mod Podge type thing. If I can get it open. I had it open yesterday. Definitely baked on in the hot weather we've been having. Excuse the noise. Okay, got it. Got it. And yes, Amanda, it is a lot of fun. And we have been doing a version for a couple of years now. So we have some kids that come back every year, and we just love them. And they look forward to it. And I don't know, I like to think we make reading fun. We read fun books and do it in a fun way. Books were, I don't know, a really important part of my childhood. And I love it when kids come in who still like to read, the old-fashioned way with pages and paper. I mean, graphic novels, fine. But I like that it's not on a tablet. I had a little guy come in the other day. His name was Griffin, and he came in with his mom, and he just went on and on about all the books that he loves to read, and I was tickled. So he's going to be coming to Creatively Curious Kids Club next week. And I don't know, we're hoping to have a great summer with that. There's a lot of sports activities in most suburban and there's a lot of sports things for kids to do, but there's not a lot of fun reading and art type stuff in our area anyway. So parents have been just really happy that we offer that kind of thing. I think most schools in this area all around, art and music aren't offered in schools, public schools so much. So if your child is a public school kid, it's nice to have a place to fill in some of that, those holes, I guess. You guys know it's good to do decoupage on white, and here is kind of why. This looks all right, but this looks better to me. This is better for Cheryl's book, which is golden, where this one is now looking more brown because I put the decoupage tissue on that side without painting it white first. It's going to be okay. This is going to be the front, and I will do some fancy things on there for Cheryl's, for the tags. Fancy things like ribbons and maybe beads. And I'm trying to strategically place word or numbers on here. Just tearing off enough. I'm not going to do the back side of this one. This one says 1899. Something must have happened in 1899 that was important. The schoolhouse we have here that we operate as an Airbnb, our schoolhouse was built in 1870. So it wasn't a baby schoolhouse anymore in 1899. So yeah, the brightness of that on the white, I think, I just much prefer it to the dark that gets there. So we're going to let these dry. I'm not showing you much tonight that's new and exciting or even getting very far on its way. But I thank you for being here and spending time. And we're putting a lot of love in Mama P's book. I am going to put some white acrylic paint on the back of this and let it dry. And then I will attach the decoupage paper on top of the white. And it'll look better to me. I like it brighter like that. So just putting that paint on there. It won't take too long to dry. And then I will decoupage that paper down. So are you guys excited? I hope you will be joining each of us, all of the teams, next month just to get a look at the final journals. And then that will be the end of our time together for this project. It has been so much fun. So I really am going to miss it. So I'm going to recreate it here locally. If anybody who's listening is in the local area, that's the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Afton, Minnesota. If you want to do a local project like this, let me know. We won't be mailing them. They won't have the opportunity to travel the country like these journals have, but they, they will be a fun project for us here. Besides the kids club, the 5 to 11-year-olds, I'm going to tell you that there's been some teen and tween girls who've come in and been really excited about the idea of learning how to make books and learning how to do journals and having signatures that they can make for themselves and for a friend and kind of trade them off. Maybe we'll start a new thing for instead of signing a yearbook, kids can make signatures their senior year of school and have their friends make. Maybe that'll be a thing that we start here. I've got some Minnesotas that I printed a while ago. Let's cut some of those out. I'm going to decoupage Cheryl some really cute Minnesotas to tuck into a couple of pockets on her So I'm going to cut this out before I decoupage it because I want to paint it white. I probably could have used white cardstock, but I didn't. I printed a bunch of these little Minnesotas on an 8.5, can't talk tonight, 8.5 by 11 cardstock that is kind of craft paper colored. So we're going to do that. And Cheryl, I hope that you will remember your new friend, Liz from Minnesota, whenever you see this little Minnesota shape. And something tells me it does not have to be the end of the road for any of us. It's been fun to get to know you. You guys do such amazing work over here on the Crafty Bunch page. It's definitely a fabulous internet destination. So we'll see what the future holds, right? So there's my Minnesota. Don't know what kind of paper we're going to put on it. We'll paint him white too, but I don't think you need to watch me do that. This could be part of a pocket. I bet Cheryl likes butterflies too, because who doesn't like butterflies? So let me trim this up. Again, not a terribly exciting thing to watch, but I got my paper cutter here. Always useful for getting nice straight edges. So I'm going to cut this to be a pocket. Green gold. I think that will be nice in Cheryl's burgundy and gold journal. Is that straight? Yes. So if I square this up using that edge, I'm going to do the butterfly, crop it pretty close to his or her wing so that it'll make a nice pocket on the front of a page. Yeah. And then let's see. Let's go over here. A little bit more off this side. Right there. Stripy watercolor paper that has this was decoupaged on just a black and white image of a butterfly that I added some paint to. If you want to know the truth, I may have created this when I was working on my Shell Bells, because her journal was green and purple and it just didn't make the final cut. But now it's going to be a beautiful part of Mama P's burgundy and gold journal. Things don't always end up where they start out. We've got the turmeric paper, and we've got just a few more minutes here to be together. Let me grab Cheryl's book again. I just want to see how the size of, I think I need to cut this down to go into the book as the appropriate sized signature. Yeah, it's awfully big compared to the other pages. So I'm going to cut off about 1/2 inch on 2 sides of this. And that might be, yeah, what holds this pocket down. I think those look pretty nice together. And I will probably stitch this on tomorrow. Or maybe I'll double-sided tape it. We never quite know until we get it done. So lifting that back up, making the cut so that this guy's going to fit right on there. I cut a little bit more of him away. Let's move that. There we go. I'm going to glue that down, you guys, or sew it down. There. So that's going to become a pocket. It's a little high. I'm going to trim off some on the bottom too. This is how I like to work. I don't measure exactly. I just go along and make sure things look right together. That seems to be a better plan for me than making exact measurements. I was a quilter for quite a while, and exact measurements were very important. Maybe that's why I rebel at this point. I rebel against perfection because I never was very good at it. So I might as well rebel against it. There we go. That's going to work. That's going to be the pocket. We're going to sew that pocket on here and tuck some deliciousness inside. I'm going to probably put one of those little Minnesota shapes inside here. And I think it's time for me to say goodbye. Thank you so much for being here and putting up with my ramblings. I want to show you this guy's dry, and I will add the paint, and I'll post on my page and share in the Crafty Bunch how this comes out. Thank you so much, and I hope that you'll be able to tune in next month and watch what all of these fabulous journals end up being in their adult life when they return to their owners. So I'm signing off. Stay tuned, watch the next presenter, and hope to see you next month. Bye.